In plasticity, we have solids, sheets, curves, and instances. And in this video, I'm going to show you which one is which and how they interact with one another, okay? So first of all, we got solids, which is this one. I'm going to duplicate this face here, right? And you see we're going to have a sheet. I'm going to duplicate an edge out of this, which is going to give me a curve. And if I'm going to grab this cube or this plane and Shift D here and Y on the Y-axis and go to F menu and type instance and create instance, you see I'm going to create instance of this cube, right? So I'm going to have an instance of this cube. So if I'm going to change anything on this cube, it's going to be reflected on my instance, all right? So these are 4 types of different items or objects you can add in plasticity, and they all interact with one another, and we're going to talk about these interactions right now. So first of all, let's talk about solids, right? Now solids can be tricky because a solid can be anything that's basically watertight. So let's say a cylinder is a solid, right? A cube is a solid. It's all solids, right? And the problem is that if a solid has a tiny hole in it, so it doesn't have to be a massive one like this one, right? Because if I remove this, it's going to automatically, right? This solid is going to become a sheet, okay? So now it's a sheet, you see that? But if I'm going to patch this, it's going to become a solid, okay? So that's what you need to be, careful about. But if I'm going to run a tiny curve here and I'm going to imprint it, and I'm going to delete this bit here. See, now we have a hole in the mesh, and now it's again a sheet. So sometimes when you're going to be patching stuff or booleaning stuff, you may end up with stuff like this. It's going to be a solid with a tiny hole, and it's going to become a sheet, and you cannot really boolean them, okay? So if I'm going to grab this this cube here and move it over here, and somewhere here, right? And I'm gonna try to boolean this. You see, this is what's gonna happen, right? It's gonna be a hole. So if you're gonna boolean a sheet, you're gonna basically just simply cut it out. Now, in order to find this hole, because sometimes it could be very difficult, you're looking at this mesh here, right? And you're thinking, hang on a second, how the hell is it a sheet? I mean, it looks like everything is fine. So there is a tool in plasticity, okay, which is called Find Boundary Edges, right? And if you click that, it's going to show you exactly where your problem is, right? And I encourage you to either assign it to your radial menu or basically, assign it to your favorite tools here under F menu, right? So now if you patch this, obviously, right, it's going to become a solid again, you know what I mean? So, that's how it works. Now, sheets could be flat sheets or could be basically, curved sheets. Like for example, if you're going to use curves to create, this kind of a shape, right? And then we're going to Shift D this here on the Y-axis and scale it, right? And move one more here to the other side, right? And then we're going to loft them. So press 2 for curves and press L to loft it. You see, that's a sheet as well. Now, if I'm going to press Shift F and thicken it, I'm going to thicken it from a sheet to a solid. Now it's a solid, you see what I mean? Because now it's an enclosed item, right? Which is manifold, which means, it's watertight, but it's not thin, paper thin, so it's not a sheet anymore. So that's the difference between solids and sheets. Now you can use solids or sheets, for example, to cut one another, right? So the way you cut with sheets, you select the face, so you press 3 to select the face, and then you're going to be using this face as a plane that's going to be cutting, a solid, right? So press C to cut left and right, and, Bob's your uncle, right? And this object is cut, okay? You can do the same thing with basically solids. So if I'm going to grab this solid and put it somewhere here in the middle of this sheet, select the sheet and press Q for boolean, and left and right, I'm going to be cutting out a piece of this sheet with a solid. It's just different tool, but similar operation, okay? Now, curves are really interesting, right? Now, with curves, you can design basically anything, and they're fantastic for surfacing. That's where, you know, the real power of plasticity comes from, right? And booleans are all, you know, all great, but the surfacing is the true power of plasticity. So curves will allow you to create all kinds of really awesome, you know, surfaces and shapes by using tools, for example, like lofting, patching, X-NURBS, square tool, etc. Is a lot of them, right? So lofting, for example, can be done across multiple curves like this by pressing L. You have to press them in a sequence. And if you want to learn more about lofting and X-NURBS, etc., just watch my other video I posted, you know, maybe a week or two ago, that explains the difference. But, you know, these tools are very, very powerful. Now, another thing that you can use curves for is fixing solids or sheets. So for example, if I wanted to create a curved, you know, kind of like a corner here, so I could just go here and obviously run a bevel. But what if I wanted to create some kind of a, you know, custom shape? So what I can do is I can go here to split curve or edge, and I can split my edge in here like this, for example, grab these two edges, and I can run a bridge tool in between them, and it's going to be a curve, right? Now, if I'm going to imprint it, I'm going to imprint it on the surface, but I can also cut it. So C, left, and right, and I'm going to be able to cut this piece out, right? And it's going to create kind of like a custom bevel. Do you see what I mean? So curves are very useful for surfacing, but also for shaping solids or sheets, right? Now, instances are quite interesting as well. Instances, basically, they're going to allow you to work with one mesh and affect other mesh. So for example, let's say that I'm gonna have a cylinder here, right, like this, and we're going to create another one here in the middle, and let's just press B for new body and move it here, and we're going to make it a bit smaller and drop it in, okay, like this, right? And I'm going to make it a bit shorter. Now what I will do is I will instance this here. So I'm gonna go to F and instance, right? Create instance. And before I approve it, I'm going to select the radial menu or the radial array and array it around. Now, what I have here is I have this mesh in here. You see cylinder is a solid, right? But all these are an instance of this solid. So if I'm going to select this cylinder, press 2, and for example, start beveling it like this, right? All of them is going to get beveled at the same time, which is really cool. So this is, you know, one way of using instances. Another way of using instances, right, would be to run a live mirror. So watch this. If I grab this mesh and I'm going to mirror this, right, like that. And I'm going to nuke this half here for a moment. And I'm going to instance this, right? So F instance, create an instance, and I'm going to mirror it to the other side, right? So now, see, I have this mesh here on the right hand side, right? And I can do whatever the hell I want with it. And if I do that, the other side will update automatically. So you could create kind of like a live mirror situation, right? Kind of like a, you know, live mirror in Blender to simply work a bit faster and more intuitively when you have, you know, when you're working on something symmetrical. And when you're done, you need to basically realize that instance. So press F and realize instances, and the instance will be shifted to solid. Then you select both of them. So press 4 and then select both of them, and then QQ, and you got one object. Now, if you would like to go deeper in plasticity and learn a whole workflow and how to design and how to, you know, migrate these designs to Blender, how to texture them, render them, or even animate them, then grab our course, The Ultimate Guide to Plasticity. You can also grab a Mac course, which is a new course we released recently, which is fantastic. And this one emphasizes the design process in plasticity, whereas a lot of emphasis was put on the blockout stage and how to flesh out really you know, really good, balanced and mechanically functional designs. Links to both courses are in the video description, and very soon we're going to be releasing a new course, which is going to be a sci-fi sniper rifle design in plasticity. This course is going to also include a very interesting module on retopology. So when you bring stuff from plasticity or CAD software to Blender, I'm going to show you how to retopologize that stuff so you can use it for whatever you want, you know, VFX, game assets, whatever, right? Anyway, that's it for the video. All the links are in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.